Hello.
Hello.
Oh, welcome, Veronica. Welcome back. It's been so long.
It has. It's been so long that I cut my hair.
It's been so long that I went blind and
got married.
Can't see me.
Got married.
But anyway, welcome. This is episode 61 of the NgoVo Convo podcast, where two stupids make a hype. I'm hype. You're right.
Right.
That's right. No, you're not right. I'm hype.
I'm
Yes.
right. Yes.
It's been too long. That's why I'm reading here, and I have a whole new setup, so it's really awkward. So, anyway, I'm one of your hosts, Harrison O, and I'm joined by Veronica Vo. She's
right here.
there.
This
I
way.
have anyway.
He's this
a
way.
whole setup now. I don't know anymore.
Where are we?
Where are we? But if you're new here, we just want an excuse to talk about anything that ranges from anime to comics. Some would say conversing.
Wow. Like NgoVo Convo. NgoVo Convo. I beat you to it.
No, I said it. I just said it really fast, and I let you.
Right.
It made it sound like you won. You know, it's okay.
Right.
No big deal.
Okay, no big deal.
But what you can do is you can watch every episode on YouTube.com or listen to it as a podcast by searching up NgoVo Convo and NgoVo Convo on your podcast service of choice.
We're on 10 different platforms. We're everywhere. Anywhere, everywhere.
And if we're not, let us know. Easy.
Yes. Easy.
Veronica.
Harrison.
I said but Veronica, but Veronica. Anyway.
Oh,
but
I'm a bro now.
Veronica. Anyway. In this episode, we're going to talk about what? We're going to talk about
who?
Not exactly brand new because we came back like a little bit after, but we're going to talk about finally Thor, Love and Thunder.
Because someone was on vacation for a very long time.
It was only a week, Joe.
Yeah, I know.
Of course, it came out the week of my wedding, so it couldn't be helped.
And we pre-recorded like a lot of stuff, and it's been a while for us.
Yeah, it's been a while.
Yeah.
But if you haven't finished the series, wow, that was weird. Haven't watched the movie, it's been a while. If you haven't watched the movie yet, like we didn't for like a whole week, please come back.
2 weeks. About 2 weeks.
It's been 2 weeks? 2 weeks. Dang.
Yeah, it's been 2 weeks.
Oh, it has been 2 weeks. My God. See? Way too long. Yeah, if you haven't seen it yet, just go to your local theater and just go watch it. Otherwise, I think he'll probably do the same thing as Multiverse of Madness, and it'll come out like a month after or something like that.
About a month and a half.
Month and a half.
Yeah, so it should be coming out Disney Plus in like a month-ish.
Probably like mid-August or something.
Yeah, end of August, mid-August.
If you want to wait for that, just go for it. Again, just find some way you gotta watch it. But yeah, Veronica, did you also know that we are sponsored by Anchor?
Wow, I did not know that.
Which we'll get into later, then, so I can tell you about it.
Wow, good to know.
All right. Spoiler-free thoughts, Veronica. We literally watched it yesterday. As of recording, we watched it yesterday.
Yeah, yesterday.
So we wanted to sit on it, digest it a little bit, think
about it. Because before we did it like day of or night of, and I think our thoughts were like.
I didn't like it.
I didn't
My
like
thoughts
either.
It was like gut reaction on everything, but then when I actually sat down and thought.
Yeah.
Anyway, we're actually we gave ourselves a little time to like digest it, sit on it. Legitimately slept on it.
Yeah. Yeah. Non-spoiler thoughts. I love Chris Hemsworth's arms. Them boys were thick.
They're huge.
And he worked out less this time. I was like, excuse me?
I kind of believe it. Only because, not really spoilers, but there's points in the movie where if you pay attention to like his arms, it's not as like jacked.
Yeah.
But I think it's depending on the day that they filmed and all that.
But, yeah, the day.
But he's still huge. But he's still huge for not working out as much apparently. So I'm like, damn. All right.
I was very excited for this movie because we rewatched Thor Ragnarok. And 2, Thor's kind of like one of my favorite characters just because he's just Thor. He's just Chris Hemsworth, really. So I was really excited to watch this and see what the title is about because it's Love and Thunder, which we'll get into later in the spoiler section. But yeah, I was really excited. I mean, we also watched the trailer, so we going into it, we kind of knew who was like the bad guy and like what was kind of going on. But yeah, I was very excited. I just really just wanted to see Chris Hemsworth. That was it. That's my main non-spoiler thoughts. How about you, Harrison?
Same, exactly the same. I just wanted to see Chris Hemsworth's like arms, like, and his body, like. But no, beyond that, I guess overall it still matches the vibe from Ragnarok, which I think if you like Ragnarok, you'll like this. I would like to think. It's kind of the same cadence. I do have some gripes on like one thing, but again, I think there's someone that explained it well. Otherwise, I think it was a fun watch. I think they balanced it. I personally think they balanced like the comedy and like the seriousness pretty well. Or at least the comedy almost doesn't overstay its welcome, if that makes sense. It's like they do it enough and they reel it back in just in time for like, okay, here's the serious points and all that.
Yeah.
So, is your audio okay?
Yes.
Okay. Oh, no, I just saw your mouth move and I was just like, I didn't know if you said something. Yeah, but overall, and I think Christian Bale did a very good interpretation of gore. But I will say, I think if you read the God Butcher, like the Thor, the God Butcher, the comic line, I don't know if you'll like it as much.
Okay, that's what I've heard.
I think you have to set your expectations that it'll be more like Ragnarok, but it's a telling of like that storyline, but it's not. It's probably. I
not
also
the best
will say.
Version.
It's to me MCU fight, or if anything Ragnarok fight. It's not as. It's because if you have time, you should totally like read it, or like there's like a guy that does like there's a YouTuber that does like a very good reading of it, and I think it's one of the top like Thor stories, so I can see why people that were super ecstatic about this may feel like it fell short. Yeah. But overall, I think it was really fun. I had fun with it. I enjoyed like most of the action. I thought the comedy was good. I think there's some things that just kind of overplayed, but otherwise, fun movie. Would you watch it again?
Would I watch it again? No, I don't think so.
But I'd watch. So yeah, I don't want to downplay too much, but I think I like Ragnarok more than this one.
I agree.
But I can't tell if it's because with Ragnarok it was something new and fresh, while this one is.
It was repeating what it did.
It's sequelitis.
Yeah.
It's the typical sequelitis where they try. It's like Deadpool was good, and I think Deadpool 2 was overplayed.
Yep.
But it's still funny to an extent, but it feels like it's a bit much more. I think that's the best non-spoiler way of me explaining the cadence of the movie.
That's the best way to describe Thor: Love and Thunder.
Yeah. It's like that. So if you haven't watched those movies, though,
go back and watch it.
Go back and watch it.
Yeah. Go back and watch it.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, but before we get into spoilers, we're going to take a quick break to talk about our sponsors.
On today's episode, we are sponsored by Anchor. It is a free podcast hosting service that we actually use. We've been using Anchor since we've started the podcast. It's because there are creation tools that allow us to record and edit the podcast right from our phones and computers. A huge plus for us is that Anchor would distribute our podcast to all platforms such as Spotify, Apple iTunes, Google Podcasts, and many more. It really is everything that you need to make a podcast all in one spot. Please download the free Anchor app or go to anchor.fm, anchor.fm to get started.
Veronica.
Harrison. Wow, that was quick.
Yeah, that was very quick.
Super quick.
Back from break was quick. Don't worry. It's fine. All right. Non-spoiler. No, we already did non-spoilers. So now we're going to do spoilers. No, we're going to do spoilers now.
Spoilers, okay.
In 3, 2, 1. Veronica, what did you... I guess we're going to just kind of go off on it. Do you want to talk about the good or bad first?
We talked about the bad first.
Okay.
Cons, maybe.
Okay. I'll start off with the cons really quick.
Okay.
Because this one was just... I don't know if you felt the same way on this one. But the con to me was I feel like the movie tried a lot to be like they pushed for like the comedy in that like how lines were delivered.
I agree.
And the way certain characters talked didn't sound right to me. I think the very first one that became very apparent was Star-Lord.
Yes.
Because when this is, and I am kind of glad that their section wasn't super long either.
And it was at the beginning.
And it was at the beginning, so they just got out of the way.
Yeah, which is nice because I thought they were gonna be in the movie, like actually like featured in the movie. You know?
Oh, okay. I didn't think
because you know where that left off because Thor he went off with Guardians of the Galaxy, so I thought they would be in the movie and help him out for like half the movie. That's what I thought.
Half the movie. Oh, okay. I could see that. I didn't assume. I figured that. I think after Doctor Strange, if you haven't seen Doctor Strange, I'm just saying it's more of a Doctor Strange movie. So this is more of a Thor sequel movie.
Yep.
Right.
Yep.
I think Marvel's done they're doing what they're supposed to, and that these movies are about the characters that they're talking about.
Yeah.
So and versus like DC, you know, trying to incorporate as much as they
DC?
can. No, don't worry about it. It's not a big deal right now.
But yeah, you were talking about
the
lines.
The lines and how people spoke, like Valkyrie sometimes when she was talking, and this you can tell I think it's like the Ragnarok Taika Waititi like style of writing, or whoever wrote it.
It was
I saw
awkward.
It was trying to be awkward. It was trying to be awkward. That's the thing. It was awkward for the sake of being awkward, and it just made it, to me,
more
kind
awkward.
of bad. It wasn't as, you know how the other one is like, oh, normal, but then they would have dry delivery on certain things. This one felt like it was the entire time.
No, I totally agree with that.
Yeah.
And I think that overstayed its stay.
Yes, it did. Especially like when there were serious moments, and even like,
but then the one-liners just come just like inches its way in, and then like they say it, but then it goes back to being serious. Yeah. Like it's a serious moment. I remember there was in one of the fights, I think it was the black and white part. Mm-hmm. And it was basically a serious part. And then Thor just says something like super funny. And it almost went over my head, but then I realized what he said, and I was like, "Oh my god, he's like trying to be funny."
Yeah, he was trying to make a joke.
Yeah, and then like, he was trying to make a joke, and then it went back to being serious. So that's like kind of like one example.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think okay, but I will say I saw someone on TikTok make this point, and I think of it that way helps me feel better about it, but it's because it's not official, but it would make sense. So if you watch the movie and you think of it as who is telling the story, because the entire time technically Korg is telling the story.
Yeah.
So the way he would describe things, like, okay, Lady Sif and Thor talking, remember that point when she's like, oh, we need help. He was like, oh, you can't go to Valhalla because you're not dead. You didn't die in battle.
You didn't die, yeah.
And she's like, shit. I can't tell if that's like just a modern take at this point, because we know how back then I'm like, would she be talking like that? I don't know. But then when you think of it as, oh, Korg is telling the story, he could just say it like that, because it's like a very like simplified version of how things work.
Yeah.
So I don't know if me telling you that, like if thinking of it as Korg is telling the story, so however everything is being delivered,
and it's from his point of view, so it's delivered kind of how he's talking.
Yes.
Okay.
I don't know if that makes. It slightly made it better, but it doesn't change the fact that in the movie they still did it.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So you can't just interpret that and be like, I personally don't think on this route, I don't think that I can let that slide. So I think it was just everything delivery was kind of weird, because there was moments where I was like, oh, this is really cool.
Yeah.
Oh, this is. But then it would take me out for like a split second. Then I get back in. Like them on the boat, like Valkyrie talking about it. I keep picking on Valkyrie, but there's other moments too. It's just the ones that I remember distinctly because I liked her because I like her character too. That's the thing.
Yeah.
But it just felt like, oh, and it was like the moments when she do it, she doesn't talk as much. But like for instance, like she's out of battle, she's like, oh, I can't do this now. Thor, it's on you. then she just walks away. It just
she goes off screen.
She just goes off screen, and I was just like, "That's it? Is that it? What?" So there's moments where it took me in and out, and I kept going back in and out of like the movie, and I'm like, "Wait, what?"
I know it was giving you whiplash, right?
Yeah,
a little bit. Yeah. No, I agree.
Yeah,
I think that's a gripe that I will agree with. The awkwardness. I know what they were trying to do. And what you said at the beginning, how they sequelified it, that's exactly what this movie feels like, with all their like delivery and like the writing. Yeah, it was interesting. I think one of my gripes would have to be Natalie Portman. I did not enjoy her this round. I don't know why.
I think
I don't know if it's like, because I know she's been acting. She's really good.
It's not like she had a break. Right? I know
what you're saying. You know, I just did not enjoy Jane Foster this time around. I don't know why.
So I can kind of guess. So my guess why, because I also feel kind of the same. Mm-hmm. But this was the next gripe, so I'll kind of jump on this one as well.
Okay.
I think they had. It's not even too many things. It's like there's two storylines I liked a lot, but they just kind of combined it, or because in the God Butchers series, it's they're supposed to be more of iterations of Thor that you are introduced to, but in this
she's one of them, right?
No, she's not.
Oh, she's
not. No, that's the thing. She's not. So that's their way of like bringing in like Mighty Thor, or as what she
Lady
like
Thor.
People didn't know what to call her at that point because we were so confused.
Yeah.
But yeah, so like they introduced Mighty Thor, which I think is cool, but I guess I also don't know if that should have been a show, or like honestly, it probably was okay for it to be like this segment. I guess it's just I feel like it could have been deeper with like her character. But
I totally agree. Yeah.
But probably not as much as you, because I think I didn't even think of it as like, I just thought of like, oh, okay. It was like one of those, like, oh, okay.
I think it's because we haven't seen Jane Foster in so long, technically since 2, which, you know, they explain in the movie that she thinks it's been 4 years, but he's like, no, it's really been 8 years. Because of the snap and like everything that's gone between 2 to now, like Thor 2 to now, basically. And I think it's been so long that Natalie Portman's been has had to play Jane Foster too. It's been quite a while for her.
She got absolutely shafted on Thor 2 anyway.
Yeah.
Like in all honesty. And I don't think she was even planning on coming back. So
yeah, I don't think she was planning on coming back. Maybe it was like she wasn't as passionate about this project as she was back then. But it's just something about her acting, like, it was not it for me.
No, I think this is another thing. I think it's for the sake of it being funny at times. So I don't know. I think it's just the direction of the movie. Mm-hmm. But I think that affected her and the character.
Yeah.
I mean, again,
she like,
yeah.
Because, you know, she's, you know, an astrophysicist. She's a doctor. She's really smart. It's just some of the, I'm going to go back to these like one-liners. It's just some of the one-liners she had to say was just awkward.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I was like, okay, Jane Foster, you're really smart. Keep it that way.
Yeah. I will say, I was actually curious how they're going to handle her character. Yeah. Because in the comics, she does have cancer.
Yes.
So they actually,
and that's what you predicted in our trailer.
Yeah, I did.
Did.
I was like, oh, I hope they do that, because then but for me at the time, I was like, it would be one of those serious things that counterbalance, and it did for a bit. It did. It did. And that it would counterbalance like Thor's like right now, like his like personality, where he's like literally just trying to self-implicate himself and make like self-inflicting jokes and all that kind of things.
Yep.
Or like jokes to like essentially push off the pain. And they touched on that.
They did.
That's some other stuff I do want to like the good, I thought, but yeah, I think her character kind of fell flat because I think I wanted more depth and onion layers.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah. I do have one more gripe. I don't know if you have any left.
I think I have one more, but I want to hear what yours is.
I was gonna say mine was gonna be Christian Bale, actually. And I think it's because he did what he could with the script and how he was written into the movie. Because to me, like, he's probably one of the better villains for Thor. I just don't know if they utilized him correctly as like a Christian Bale. Like, I love Christian Bale. He's great. He's a good actor. He can do whatever he wants to do. But in this one, to me, he just fell short. And I think it was the writing or the scripting and how they placed him in certain points of the movie.
Yes, I was gonna say I think I was critical to an extent, but I was like, all right. I what you said is probably how I actually feel. Where he did his best with what he was given, because in all honesty, Gore as a character is supposed to be he was on his way. Like, Christian Bale was on his way to make him crazy, but the thing is, Gore is also like super like terrifying to another extent of how much power he has. That's another thing we could touch on. I think my gripe is with Gore. So this is actually a jumping off point. I think they underutilize Gore. I think he's a better villain, but that's not saying much. I think Loki's still like one of the better ones but that's Loki, right?
It's Loki, yeah.
Yeah. But Loki has his whole arc and we all learn to love him, blah blah, all that stuff. While Gore, they hit all the main points. They hit all the main points where he was a believer in the gods, doesn't become one, family dies, goes on a rampage to try to kill gods. And that's it. They almost, so in this, just to let you know, they almost get to his penultimate because he ironically gets the power of gods.
Interesting. So they stopped short there.
Yes, and that's why I was like, this movie, for the sake of everything, I think they tried to put more into it, which wasn't too much.
It didn't feel like too much, though.
It didn't feel like too much. It
Yeah.
got all the points. I think it was just like a very Spark Notes
version
thing on both. It's like a Spark Note version of both Mighty Thor and Gore, of like those
smushed
stories.
Into this movie.
Smushed into this one, and then with a heavy layer of here's all the Ragnarok comedy you all love so much.
And then on top of that, let's put in Thor's trying to find himself again.
Yes. Now that part is actually hilarious to me, which I actually thought was good.
Oh yeah.
But we'll touch on that in a bit. So, but yeah, those were my big gripe was like the whole gore thing. I think my last tiny one, again, I think this is the hard part where the balance is good. I say good because it didn't fully overstay its welcome, but it got really close. It gets close every time with the jokes.
Yes,
like the goats, I still laugh at the goats because I'm an idiot. No, I'm an idiot, and I fell for that every time because I think it's hilarious. But then my wife is like, I hated it. He's just like, I thought it was funny for like the first two times, and then afterwards it's just.
No, my fiance was like, the first time was enough.
And it's just that stupid after. But I'm a sucker for stupid humor, so therefore that one wasn't as bad. But ironically, I thought the whole like, okay, also, the more we talk about, okay, actually, this is easier to talk about. We'll touch on it in a bit because that's a whole section of itself. So we're talking about Gore because initially that's like the whole premise is like, oh, he's trying to kill gods and stuff, and Thor's trying to find himself.
Yeah.
I think I have another.
Oh God, okay.
It's all little stuff to me. That's why it's not like the glaring one was literally the line delivery, and then Gore maybe. The jokes are like, it's like almost there, but then not. I think, okay, when they go to the gods though, when they talk about the gods, the impact that they had in the comics compared to this one, because the gods in this one are just shown actually as bad, so there's no shit. It's gonna be like, oh, this is why we must kill them all. But there's no like redeeming factor. And I thought like maybe like, and for the sake of the joke, it's funny because they're just having an orgy party. One, they can say orgy now in PG-13 movies.
I know.
And then two,
I know.
And then two, Zeus. Honestly, cool. Like, but the character himself is kind of like,
He was very just.
I
he was just very much Russell Crowe.
He's very Russell Crowe.
Yeah.
He did a pretty decent Greek accent though, so I was like, okay.
Yeah.
Too bad.
He was okay.
Anyway.
He was just a fat old man. That's basically what Zeus is. Zeus is not built like what we thought he was built like.
Nope. But yeah, no, I guess my only gripe. No, it's funny because like my wife and like my roommate were talking on the way back. They're like, yeah, the goats got too much. I'm like, you know what got me was when Zeus was walking down, and for the sake of the joke, he would like hold his like skirt down, and I'm like, that was annoying. And they were like, that didn't annoy me at all. I'm like, see, I'm a sucker for stupid humor. That was the whole goal of that.
That's so funny. Oh my god, he just did like the little, and then just like started walking down. Oh, that didn't bug me.
No, I know.
You remind me of the goats, and I was like, the goats did bug me.
The goats bugged everyone. 100% they bugged everyone, so I'm not surprised whatsoever.
All
right. Any more gripes? Any more negatives?
I got nothing else. Nothing else. Cool.
Now the positives. On the flip side, I think the comedy was really, like, if it was just focus on, like, if I were to just be like, I like Ragnarok, would I like this? I actually did. I think all this stuff, like, and that's the hard part. If I were just to put the comedy on this, like, just separate it from, like, the actual seriousness.
Yeah.
Like, of the plot, of, like, the characters, the arcs and everything, and just hear, like, line delivery. I thought it was hilarious. I laughed so much.
Funny.
I laughed so much in this movie.
I almost went into tears when they showed the play again and Matt Damon came back up. I almost started
That was my
crying.
pro. That was my pro. They brought back the actors, Matt Damon and isn't that Chris's brother?
Luke Hemsworth.
Luke Hemsworth. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like
what's her name? Melissa. Melissa something?
Because it was her first time in this one.
Yeah.
Right? I forgot her name also. It's like the comedian. She's a comedian? Or she's
a
like
comedian.
She's typically on, yeah. Yeah, she's typically on like a lot of
I literally almost like died crying at that part because it was just and the Thor and the string and like the Thor hammer
throws the hammer and it's just like sliding.
Sliding across.
The fact that they're still talking, like the fact that people will sit down and watch a play, all right? This is like 21st century and they're all 21st, whatever.
It's like
20,
it's at least like 2026 or something. I think.
Yeah. And people, like, with all the technology we have, we are willing to sit down and watch this play happen. And I'm like, see, at first I was like, this is stupid. But then we watched the whole thing. I'm like, I would too. I would sit down and watch this train wreck.
I too would watch Matt Damon be low-key.
I would too. Oh, and then the fact that after is like, and it continued the bit. Okay, again, this is that gray area of like, they went with the bit. The bits were funny. But sometimes they almost oversay the work. But this is one of those times where, after the whole like issue of like the town being attacked and children are taken, the actors come in and say, "Oh my liege, should we actually like try to create like a story out of this? You know, for entertainment for the people, to, like bring up the spirits, and all this stuff." And I'm like, I hate it, but I also love it.
I know, and they were in costume minus their wigs, so Matt Damon was just like, "My lady, do we do a play? How do we do
a play? How should we do it? How should we convey? Should we even do it at all?" But it's like, but then she's like, she didn't say yes, but she didn't say no.
And then they're just like walking off, like,
and start planning,
start planning it. Oh my god, that I was surprised that they were gonna come back for that, but it was just the funniest like play. Oh my god, it was so funny.
Oh, I love the play so much.
Oh, you know what? And isn't that a good thing? Seeing Chris Hemsworth's bare butt.
Going back to the whole like Zeus, like going to what was it? What's that place called again? Oh my gosh, Omnipotent City or something.
Omnipotency, yeah.
Something like that. Yes, I mean,
yeah. Words.
Can't fault you on that one. TikTok though. What was I gonna say? Even though I saw in the trailer it was just so much funnier because I didn't realize how long he was staying naked.
Like 15 minutes. It was just his abs up, and he's just like, here you go. And I was like, wow, those veins are really veiny.
I flick hard too though.
Flick. And then everyone just like passes out. Literally, everyone passes out behind Zeus, and they're just like, ugh. And I was like, yeah, me too. I would pass out too.
Stop talking. You're no longer invited to the orgy. And I was like, I couldn't tell if like the people behind was like, oh. But when he put on the robes,
everyone
they were all
was disappointed.
Like, darn. That was so funny. See, there's like moments like that where it's just like hilarious.
Hilarious. What's another good one?
I will say what I did like. So going from the story comic line, I mentioned how like they kind of incorporate 3 Thors. They're essentially it's like past, present, future Thor.
Yeah,
that's the idea, right? But in this one, they put Valkyrie, Thor, and Jane Foster. Which actually also works because I like the parallel that they did with Gore in this movie because it's like, oh, Gore. The whole thing with Gore is like, oh, the gods don't help us, let's just kill all of them. And then it's like, what do you mean?
Butchers all of them. Yeah.
But then these 3 are like, oh, or at least like Jane Foster and Valkyrie, when he was talking, it was like, oh, Valkyrie's like, oh, why are you following them? I'm sure you prayed to them so long, but then all your sisters still died. I'm like, oh,
I know.
Oh, okay, we're going there. And then Jane Foster is like, oh, after everything we've done, you're still gonna like die, essentially.
Yeah.
Even though you want more, but the power that this sword and this hammer, like I like the parallels that they're drawing. I thought that was cool. Like why they chose, because at first I was like, oh, I don't know how they're gonna do this.
Jane Foster is a really good parallel to Gore. If you think about it.
Yeah, it was good. Yeah, it was good for the movie. So I was like, all right, I'll take it. Why not? So I thought that was fun. What'd you think of? Oh, what'd you think of the whole like they're essentially like they're talking about the hammers. How here's my ex-girlfriend. She's with my ex. Hammer, and I'm with this new hammer, but there's like this whole sexual tension between all of them.
All of them. It was so funny seeing Stormbreaker be jealous, and just like you see Thor talking to like his old hammer and like his ex, and then like it pans over slowly, and then just his actual hammer just comes right next to him.
I love he's like, come back to daddy. Come on. And then it's like, oh hey you.
Or whenever he's trying to what is it? Go to the next. What does this Stormbreaker do again? I forget. He like malfunctions.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. When he's trying to do the rainbow or like he does the Bifrost.
Yeah. Bifrost. But he malfunctions and then he just cuts right back into like down to Earth.
Back into Asgard. It's like, what are you doing?
He has malfunctioned. But. Out of all that weird tension, we finally understand how they break up.
Yeah.
Which was interesting.
It made sense. I was like, oh, okay, cool. Because they never touch on it. They never
went back to it.
Like, they kind of brushed over it, and I think Ragnarok is like, yeah, we just didn't work out. He's like, we just weren't working out.
Yeah. And then in Endgame, he was like, we just broke up.
We just broke up.
No, I thought it was interesting. That was something like I liked going back to like the past and like just kind of seeing them just be like a normal couple, like they were just kind of laying around, just hanging out.
Typical rom-com couple though.
Yeah.
It was a typical rom-com thing. I was like, oh, I like it. It was funny. Again, it's funny. Like things like that was funny. But then when you but it's like, it's funny, but when you actually like, put it in perspective of like MCU, I'm like, kind of wish I got some more like character dev, but it's fine.
It's fine.
Did you?
I was gonna say, what'd you think about Axel?
Wow, I was gonna talk about the kids. I was talking about the kids because Axel. Well, what's it? I forgot his actual name all of a sudden because he kept saying Axel.
Oh yeah, I forget.
Because it's based on the band member, but. I didn't know Heimdall had a kid.
Same.
Did I miss that?
Did I miss that? Did we miss that?
I was really confused. I was like, oh, you have a kid? Oh, that's the mom. Wait, Hondo was just had a family? Oh, what?
He had a whole family, but he died.
Yeah, I was really confused. I was so thrown off.
Yeah, same.
But no, I thought it was funny in those moments when he was doing the whole. He's like Heimdall's freaky eyes, according to not Gore, Korg.
To Korg, yeah.
Yeah, I thought those moments were pretty funny, but
they were. The children were cute.
Yeah.
They were cute. I didn't really understand them for like the end part. Yeah.
Yeah, that was weird. But I mean, it's like Thor doing like a pseudo kind of Odin spell thing with the hammer, essentially. But it was kind of weird. It was funny. It's funny thinking about it, funny seeing it. But when I watch it again, I'll probably be like,
"What the hell is this?"
I kind of wanted more. Because then every time Thor and Gore, the God Butcher, are about to fight, I feel like it gets watered down because then it's always incorporating other people.
Oh yeah, I agree.
Yeah,
it was never a one-on-one.
Yeah,
like truly never a one-on-one in this movie.
Yeah. It was always like a 3v1 or at minimum, honestly.
Yeah, or 2v1.
Yeah. So, okay. We're going to talk about a couple, or do you have any? Oh, I just thought it was funny that it was called the Shadow Realm the entire time. And I could not stop thinking about Yu-Gi-Oh! So the moment they brought it up, I was gonna look over at my wife, and she already looked at me, and she's like, "Shadow Realm, oh my god," because she's like a huge Yu-Gi-Oh! Fan, but it was just funny how she was just like, "Oh my god," they just keep saying it, it just doesn't stop. I'm like, nope.
That's funny. I didn't think about that.
Yeah, because you're too much of a weeb. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, you are.
How did you feel about? Okay. Overall, did you think the pacing was okay?
I thought it was okay for how it was. I think it was very, like you said, it was very balanced on the comedy, the fighting, the seriousness. So it didn't feel like they incorporated a lot. But now as we're talking about it, they incorporated a lot in 2 hours. It
was like a lot, at minimum. If I don't know how else to explain it, but like they had so many things, but they like kind of just put it in there. But it wasn't like that bad to where it was like too little. It was enough, but I think I wanted more of like certain things.
Yeah, no, I agree. And I think the comedy really helped out with this movie. And now that I think about it, the 2 hours, it could have been like we could have had 30 more minutes, I think. We could have had 30 more minutes for like another fight or something. Or maybe just go in depth with like Jane Foster and her cancer, because that was just kind of overlooked a little bit.
I guess it's one of those, it was overlooked, but it also was, they kind of got the point across. I guess how much do you want to dwell on it? Because it does show like she's struggling whenever it happens.
Yeah.
Because what else can you do?
She's going through it.
She has cancer.
She's going through it. Yeah.
Yeah. I think it was one of those. It did kind of show over time that she was getting worse, but I kind of wanted So I that's a hard one because I was like, they got the point across. She's looking well. She looked I think they purposely like made her look, or they didn't shoot that probably until like after the workouts and stuff, because she looked super buffer. Toned and buff when she's in Thor, as Thor, so it makes sense.
Yeah, no, it was good overall.
Yeah. I think the plot could have been better, but overall I was like, it's still a fun watch. I think it was funny overall. I do want to touch on a couple things though.
Oh, okay.
Kind of 3 things.
Okay.
The first one. This is where the end kind of sucks, but I get the how it wraps up, where Gore essentially just wishes that his daughter comes back.
Yeah.
And he sees eternity. Oh, that's a whole nother thing. like eternity is a thing, but it's like meditate, like it's sitting down. I was like, oh shoot, all right. But now it's like essentially she comes from eternity, so she has powers now. Probably, I guess that's what's going on.
Yeah, she's like a god. I think is how it
essentially.
It.
Yeah. And now Thor's her uncle, and Thor takes care of her. But this all happened while like Jane dies in Thor's arms, essentially, and then Gore all of a sudden's like, take care of her. I was like, ooh, that sucks. Knowing like this is the guy that just killed the guy killed the girl you wanted to spend the rest of your life with, but now anyway. But
I agree.
The future of that, I literally after the movie me and my wife started watching like random videos on like explanations
and stuff.
I don't know what to expect on this one.
Don't know. Really... Yeah, I don't know what to expect. I personally, with live like superhero action movies, I typically do not like children in them. I feel like they're they weigh down the character a little bit, you know? And that's no offense to children. I don't like kids.
But isn't it crazy that the daughter is Thor's or Chris Hemsworth?
Chris Hemsworth, yeah.
Yeah, I was like, at first I sat there, I'm like, she looks familiar, and all of a sudden, boom, I was like,
Chris, yeah.
But that
but I don't know. It looks interesting. I'm kind of interested because Thor will come back. That's what their end statement was. So, kind of interested in how Love and Thor will contribute to the rest of their films.
I think this is like MCU's way of like moving forward with characters. Because I don't know if you noticed, they're starting to introduce younger Avengers characters.
Yeah,
essentially, the young Avenger characters. So like,
I think that's why Axel is like a younger version of his dad. Like I know they're like ramping up for like basically young Avengers.
Or just like the new class.
Or just like a new class, yeah.
Yeah, all that.
I just think it's interesting because I know Chris Hemsworth wants to continue being Thor until he can't. So it's like, what else can you do with Thor?
Yeah, but it like this girl's also super OP. Well, right now we can only call her Love. It's actually crazy. Love and Thunder.
Love
finally.
Thunder.
That was I was wild by that. I was like, okay,
me too.
Cool.
I was like,
twist.
I was like, Love and Thunder.
But speaking of the future, because we were talking about essentially what's gonna happen. I think when Thor returns, they alluded at the end with the credits how
they did.
Well, one, they made you think that Thor killed Zeus, but I was like, that was too easy.
Zeus ain't dead.
Zeus isn't dead.
He's not dead.
Yeah, but so Zeus is alive, and Hercules is about to be introduced at the end.
I'm very excited because I do love Hercules.
And I think
Hercules is like a freaking menace in the MCU universe. I know that.
No, and it's actually cool because Hercules, besides like, because I know Thor has like a lot of like villains, but Hercules is technically Thor's rival.
Yep.
Which I was like, oh, finally, this is really cool.
We get a rival.
We finally get like the rival, and because Hercules in the comics is as strong as Thor, but also almost as strong or sometimes on par with Hulk.
Yep.
So it's like that level. Just to give a premise for anyone that doesn't understand power levels at this point, because I don't.
Who does?
But they're at that. But that's the level, right? So Hercules it'll be cool to see because now like, yeah, Zeus is like, oh, what's happened to us? People used to fear and like or pray to the gods and all this stuff, and now here we
gotta bring the fear back. So Hercules bringing the fear back.
Yeah, that'll be cool. I'm excited for that. I had a feeling they were going to introduce him. I didn't know how. And end credit, not surprised.
Yeah, not surprised they just dangled that to us.
What'd you think of the final credit scene?
Where Jane Foster is in
Valhalla.
Or Valhalla?
Yeah.
Valhalla?
Yes.
Valhalla?
Words are hard.
Yeah, words are hard. I thought it was interesting.
Yeah.
Because I was like, when did this... I was like, wait, she's not a god, she's human, but then she took over Thor's, like, status, so I guess she's now a god. I was very confused, but then I was just like, I'll let it go.
Yeah, me too.
I was like,
you know what?
There.
She deserves it. Sure, she deserves it.
I was like, okay, we'll just stop thinking about it. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I think she deserved it. She,
100%.
100%.
Yeah, no, I think I just want to add, I think finally we're getting to that point of, for so long we were so worried about universes, like multiverse.
Yeah.
But we're now touching the point where, and I watched, this is on one of the YouTube videos I saw, and it was a very good point. I wish I could point to it. I can't remember which one. Essentially, it's like we've hit the point where it's like universes versus, what's the word that was used? Dimensions, or like area, like not zones or all this. Like it's essentially, it's not a universe, but it's just like new areas, like actually like mystical or like anything like that. Like we're getting that in Miss Marvel.
Yeah.
We got that with Moon Knight, and now we have now we have Valhalla. So we have all these like big different like points of
like
interest.
Dimensions and zones. Yeah.
I can't remember the word all of a sudden. Like words are hard. Like we keep saying, but now we're drawing that line of, this is not like a different universe. It is actually just a different area in this universe. So it's just finally cool to see, like, oh, we're expanding, like the world that we know in MCU is like expanding so much,
and I think that's why MCU is so good about.
This is where I will say, like, as much as like it's a lot to keep up with, it is just cool to see like the world just continuously grow, or it's expanding, or like it's already stopped, because they've talked about Valhalla forever.
Oh no, since the beginning of Thor.
Yeah, but now we finally see it, so I'm like, oh yeah, this is cool. So it's just, the payoff is there, so it's nice. It's cool.
Oh yeah, I agree.
Well, Veronica.
Well, Harrison.
That's all I got. Do you have anything?
That's all I got. I definitely recommend it.
I recommend watching it, and then I don't know if I watch it in theaters again. I'd watch it again, but I have to probably do like the whole, I'll watch Ragnarok and then watch this.
And then watch, kind of binge it just to see how it goes.
Yeah. So
we should do that as a future episode. Cough, cough.
Cough, cough. But got anything else? No?
I don't. Go see it for Chris Hemsworth's booty.
That's exactly it. Yeah. Go watch the movie first, but because I would 100% do it again.
100%. Just for Chris Hemsworth. That's it.
On that note, thanks for tuning in. You can follow us on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, Twitter, and Patreon at NgoVo Convo and NgoVo Convo. If you're on YouTube, don't forget to hit that like button and notification bell to get updates from when we upload. And subscribe. It's that big red button right below Veronica, right over there.
Below me.
Click that. Boom. And let us know how we're doing in the comments, or just wherever. What you want to see next, even, or what you want. I don't know. Just anything else.
Did you like our rewatch of Thor Ragnarok? What did you think?
You want more trailer reacts? I don't know. All this stuff. Yeah. Everything. I mean, obviously something about trailers. I mean, anime stuff. Weebs.
We got weebs on here. It's fine.
It's fine. But on that note, bye.
Bye-bye.